Hello everyone, this is GR from GR Tech School. In this video I'm going to talk about scope in Python. So in Python, a variable has two types of scope. One is called global, another is called local. So I'm going to explain what is global scope and local scope in a perfect way. So let's get started. So I'm going to create one function called def, and it's going to be function 1. So I'm going to create a variable called name and set it to my name GR. I'm going to print that GR to the function. So if I call this function, what will happen? If you call this function, what will happen? It will print gr to screen. So you can see it print gr to screen. Okay, and you can see that. Okay, it prints gr to screen. So the next things I want to teach you, listen carefully. Okay, this is what a local scope is. A variable which is defined inside a function is only accessible within that function. Listen carefully. Okay, I'm explaining. Listen carefully. If you create a variable inside a function, this variable, okay, this variable has a local scope. Okay, this is what local scope is. This variable has a local scope. That variable can be only accessed within this function, not outside of the function. Or you cannot access name over here. For example, if I type name, this cannot be accessed. Listen carefully. Okay, listen carefully. Okay, listen carefully. Okay, and it says the name is not defined because this variable has a local scope. This is what local scope is. Okay, this variable can be only accessed within that function, not outside of the function or not inside another function. Okay, if you create another function called function 2, if you try to access the name here, I'm gonna call the function 2 over here. So now if I run this program, it is going to return an error because it cannot be accessed. If you create a variable inside this function, that variable belongs to this function. So this is called local and global scope. The concept local and global scope is applied to variables. Okay, whenever you hear this word local scope, global scope, that means they are talking about variables. We have to understand this one. So now I'm going to teach you what is global variable is. This concept is pretty simple and easy. You don't need to confuse yourself. So I'm going to create another variable called value. I'm going to store something like gr. So if I print gr to screen, okay, this is global scope. It works fine. So if I try to print this variable inside a function, okay, function like function 1, function 2, okay, it still work. Okay, first of all I need to call this function, otherwise the function won't work. Okay, if you don't call the function, that will never work. Now you can say gr is working because global variables, listen carefully. Okay, global variables can be accessed anywhere. It doesn't matter if you declare a variable outside of a function, that variable can be used inside a function or inside another function. That doesn't matter. You can use that variable in any function. Okay, doesn't matter, you can use that variable in any function outside and so on and so forth. It still work, and you can see gr. I think I made a simple mistake because I forgot to put parentheses, and you can see that gr. Okay, because global variable can be accessed anywhere. Thing like this. Okay, whenever you heard the terms local variables and global variables, global variable can be accessed anywhere of the program. The local variable can be only accessed within that function where you created. That is the basic things of local variable and global variable. So most of the people, when they use global variable, they use this keyword. So you can also tell the Python, hey Python, I'm using this global variable. So don't confuse with this line of code. This line of code is saying the Python, hey Python, I'm using the value global variable. So you can put it. Sometimes if you get error, if you try to execute this program, but you may get error, but in this time you won't get error. But if you get any error saying there's no value is defined inside this function, you can simply type global, okay, and the name of the value, and you can say name of the variable value, and this time I won't get errors, so I did it. So if you get errors, then you can, if you use this keyword, your error will be gone. So basic idea of global scope and local scope is this: if you create a variable inside a function, that variable can be only accessed within that function, but if you create a variable outside of the function, that variable can be used inside any function or outside, that doesn't matter. The another important things I want to tell you is, for example, when you create a variable inside a function like this, or inside a function like this, what will happen when you invoke this function? This is how Python works, okay? When you invoke this function will be run, and this variable will be initialized and print. When the function ends, the memory, from the memory, all of the detail will be deleted. Therefore, when you try to access the value outside, it won't become. So this is the logic behind it. So it is not useful, but if you understand this, you can understand easily what is global variable and local variable is. And you can see that whenever you call this function will be created, and this value will be set, and we use that value inside that function. After the function is going to finish, that variable will be deleted too. That's why you are unable to access the variable outside of the function. So the basic idea is, if you declare the function inside, if you declare the variable inside a function, that variable is only available only within that function, not outside of the function. So if you create a variable outside of the function, you can use that value inside a function or outside of the function. For example, if you create a variable like value over here, so you can use this function outside, or you can use this function inside a function. So that is the value of global variable. Now I hope you have understood what is global variable and local variable. The another important things I want to mention is, I forget to mention this. So for example, you create a variable called x, I'm gonna say gr here, so I'm gonna print x over here. So if I try to print capital X, I will get error, because you have to understand that, okay, Python is case sensitive. For example, this x and this x is different. This is small x and this is capital X. So I didn't teach you this subject for long, but some people name their values like this and try to print their values like this. So if you do that, it won't work. So keep it in your mind, this one, okay? This won't work. And if you say values is not defined, so for example, this is capital and this is small, so always make sure to be in the same case for variable. So that is very important concept in Python, but in PHP it's another case. I'm not talking about PHP in this programming, because we are learning Python. And thank you very much for watching this video, guys. I will see you in the next video.